So I started to look at this and I thought, whoa! If I'm talking about opening a noodle bar, and in noodle bars we make, say, I don't know, a few £1,000s a week, and that's already really exciting. And then I looked at this and I thought, whoa, this is a whole new level. This is why I was so excited into franchising. Can you see? Right? By the way, this is not the true figure. The true figure is much, much higher than this. Ask me why.
Why?
Ask me why.
Why?
Because this is the franchise fee only for local franchises. When they are going international, or the master franchise fee. Yeah. So for example, when we sold our rights to India, they paid £800,000 in one go just for the franchise fee. Does that make sense? So when they're taking different countries, they need to pay £300,000, £500,000, depending on the size of the country and the demographic. Clear? So it's actually much higher than this. Now, so these maths, if you think about your business being able to make this type of money, is that pretty cool? Yes?
Can I just ask, how would you know that your product would be wanted in other countries, or your service would be wanted in other countries?
You test it. You go back to day one. Day one?
Yeah.
Yesterday, you go back to day one. You give the market what they want. So if they don't, for example, it's like this, okay, right, let me ask you this question, because this is relevant, because yesterday we were covering this, right? If your product and service is not wanted, what can you do?
We did.
Hey? Tweak it. You can drop it, you can not do it, or you can tweak it, you can adapt it. And a lot of the time adaptation works. It's just like our noodles, our sauces, they don't work out in India. They don't. We tweak it, we need to adapt. Even McDonald's adapts out there.
But
Right?
that's what I'm thinking, how, like, the noodle bar as well, like, I understand it would work here, but how would you know they would work globally, like in India?
You just tweak it until it works. You don't know.
Yeah, that
And it could fail, and it could fail terribly wrong. It could go really, really, really wrong. But then you have that ability to tweak it. That's what we were talking about yesterday. So you just need to adapt. You need to find what they want in that market, and you need to keep tweaking. Yes, what is it? Well, in terms of noodles, what I do is I give them the noodles and we test it. We held a few exhibitions in India, and then we just give samples. That's what we actually tested the market out. Yes, Simon, great to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Is there any time, say for instance, if you're expanding into other
If we can get the mic.
yeah, sorry, if you're expanding into other countries, is there ever a time where you would sacrifice you pay a high franchise fee, but you sacrifice that for maintain the royalties?
You pay a higher.
So say for instance.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Repeat after me. We are always in control.
In control.
Right? The rules are all yours, by the way.
Yeah.
These figures you can play around up and down, skip this one, put this one higher, put that one lower. It's entirely up to you. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're all following so far, yeah?
Yes.
By the way, if we have any questions throughout this, because I'm going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into this, okay? So we're just scratching the surface level right now. So I'm going to go deeper and deeper. If you have any questions, please ask during the thing, okay? Because I don't want to lose anybody through this, yeah? Okay, so, and there's no such question as a stupid question, okay? I have some people that I'm coaching who are always like, oh, Eric, I have this question, but it's really stupid. And it's like, no, there's no such thing. Just ask the question. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We still awake, yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, with franchising, okay, so with franchising, first of all, we need to understand this, okay? That an average business usually does this. Average business, usually you have a business, and what happens is, just let me finish this first, thank you. So we have an average business, usually it pays out, let's say 20K for salary, 20K for salary, 20K for salary. Yep, this is how a usual business works. So, for example, it employs one person, pays 20K out, pays 20K out, pays 20K out. And then what happens is you are hoping, but hoping is not a process, but you are hoping that these employees work really, really hard to grow our business for us, right? But employees have what we call employees mentality, right? They don't really put their whole soul and life into working for you and growing your brand for you, right? They only work when you push them to work, yes, most of the time. Tomorrow I'll be covering leadership and management, which will change that. But let's look at this for a second. So you are paying out, hoping that they can make you 20K back. Most of the time they don't. They just sit there twiddling their thumbs and work when you look at them. Yes, that's why they work. When you look the other way, they stop working, right? So that's what usually happens. So you pay out hoping. And then what happens is you get bigger and bigger, well done to you, and then you employ another person, another 20K out, and you are still hoping. But hoping is not a process. Hoping is not a process. You're hoping that the next one who comes along doesn't become an idiot like the rest of them, right? But then you just keep attracting idiots, and you're wondering why. Now, tomorrow we'll be covering that side of things. But what's interesting and fascinating about franchising is it flips the whole formula around. People are paying you the 20K, paying you the 20K, paying you the 20K to grow your business for you. Think about this for a second. Do you think the person who's paying you 20K will work harder than your employee?
Yeah.
Interesting. Thanks, Shabari. Interesting. So, when you pay other people, they don't work as hard. When they pay you, they work harder. Now, isn't that a beautiful model? Isn't that a beautiful model to have? Yes? So, when I started to look at this, I thought, okay, this is no-brainer. In fact, if you think about this, right? Burger King, the Whopper burger, right? That was thought of by a franchisee. The franchisor didn't think of that, right? Subway, when they were crashing, yeah, who thought of cutting it in half and selling the half or so, right? It was the franchisee, not the franchisor. Think about this for a second. When your business is kind of not doing so well, it's not even your headache anymore. It isn't. It will not. You won't even need to ask them for a favor. They will naturally think of creative new ways to get out of it. Does this make sense? You know, yesterday I was talking about R&D. I said always stay ahead of the game, right? Usually you need a whole R&D team and pay so much money for development, innovation. Now, even if you stop thinking, trust me, they will still be thinking. Their skin is in the game, yes?
So what happens when they come up with a new idea for you? Does that become yours or is that theirs?
Okay. So first of all, repeat after me. We are always in control. Okay. So in the franchise agreement, that will all you will have full control of that. Now for us, this is what we do. This is what I found. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating. When we stop thinking about growing the brand never stops growing. Suddenly, all of the people who have paid you are always saying, hey, Eric, what about this idea? Hey, Eric, I've got this idea. Even searching local competitors, all the research is done by them. Hey, Eric, this noodle bar just opened. Hey, Eric, I like this menu. Hey, Eric, they've just launched this. Hey, Eric, this price structure. They're putting all this information for me. And they're paying me to do that for me. Think about that for a second. It turns the whole thing around. It flips the whole thing around. They're paying me to do all of that work for me. And then what happens is, what we do is this. So we collect these emails, and then we need to approve them, because we have the right to approve them. They can't action it without our approval. Then we look at them, and we say, great idea, go and test it. So they're very happy, they test it. After testing it, we say, did it work? No? Okay, cool. Don't do it, yes? Change, use something else. They say, did it work? Yes, it did. Okay, cool. So now, our hub, what we do is, boom. We send it out to all the other franchisees and we say, here's the new idea. All the franchisees are really happy. It's like, thank you. We've tested it on this store. All the ideas are coming from us, but it's not really coming from us. This is innovation. Continuous innovation comes from everybody else who is paying you while innovating for you. Right? And at the same time, when your business has any struggles, they will solve those problems. It's out of their best interest to solve those problems for you. Does this make sense? Yes? So they start doing all of that stuff. Now, to some of you, I know right now, it'll still be a little bit confusing. You'll be like, okay, so I still can't see how my businesses can be franchised. Okay? We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. When we go into franchising, the question is this. I looked at all these stats, and I looked at the whole model, and I looked at the exponential growth, and I was like, yes! And then I paid £8,000 for, you get a little square, anybody been to a franchise exhibition before? So a franchise exhibition is I probably get like maybe this part, this big, right? And I pay £8,000 to stand in this box for 2 days, to sell my heart out, yeah, to keep selling franchises to people. And so I had all the banners printed, and Steve was there as well. We had all the banners printed, every beautiful artwork, and we were standing there. And then we were kind of like, person passed by, we say, hey, you interested in franchising? They say, yeah. They say, okay, so what is it? I say, it's a noodle bar. They say, how many stores have you got? 1? And then they say, okay. And I said, yeah, so are you interested? No. Okay. So in my mind, remember, in the back of my mind at this time, I've got the 120 million plus the 480 million cha-ching, and I'm standing there, you know, thinking, this is my day, right? So we're all standing there, and then another person passes by, and then they say, hey, how much is the franchise fee? I say, it's 16K. They say, how many stores you got? 1. They say, 16K? They said, what? So do I need to, what? And then I said, well, basically you just pay the fee, and then we just help you find your store, and we do everything for you, all the rest of it, right? And they said, well, what happens if you run away with my money? So I stood there for the next half an hour explaining why I would not run away with your money, sir, you know? And then I was thinking, this is really interesting. What's the problem with a new brand? A new brand going into a franchise market, what's the problem?
No.
No credibility.
Right, no credibility.
Uncertainty.
Right, so credibility, what else? Risk, what else? Trust. Trust, okay? These main things. So that's the problem. But the great thing is, when we hear the word problem, we hear what? We hear solution. We hear solution. Okay? So the question here is, how can we, as a new brand, as a new company, gain this credibility, give them this minor risk, and then gain more trust? How can we do that as a new brand? Okay, so that was my question. That was my question, right? Now, what happened was we had a whole 2 days selling our hearts away, explaining to people that we're not going to steal their money, and that our franchise fee is good, that our brand is good, and all the rest of it. And at the end of the 2 days, we went back, and then we thought, what do we do now? We just spent £8,000 plus all the banners and everything, maybe 10K altogether, and it's lost. And then I started seeing my 480 million pounds kind of like gain wings and start flying away. You know? I was like, oh no, what's going on? So my dream was starting to fly away. Now, when I looked at this, I thought, okay, let's look at this properly. So I went back to the office, we searched on the internet, and then I found the stats. I looked at Subway again, looked at McDonald's again. From the beginning, the first 10 years, Subway and McDonald's probably had maybe 3 to 10 stores. And then I thought, it's exponential growth, meaning the growth happens in 30 years' time. I was sitting there scratching my head thinking, I don't want to wait 30 years. And I don't want to open 10 noodle bars in the next 10 years, you know? And I'm thinking, man, we didn't check that before. Sometimes it's not about looking at where the business is now, it's looking at what was the journey to get there, right? But that's a problem. And to every problem, there's always a solution. And I'm the solution guy. So when I seen that, I thought, okay, so how? The question was, how can I speed this up? I don't care that most franchises take 10 years, 15 years to establish. And by the way, everything that I'm going to teach you here, if you go to any franchise association and tell them about this model, everyone will say, no, that model is not franchising. And that's not the way to do franchising. That's not the conventional way. And they've said it to me a million times before. And I said, well, I'm in this franchise exhibition and I'm selling franchises and I've sold like 50 something in the last 3 years. So I said, it's franchise. And on the franchising board, I don't want to mention the name, but on the franchising board you have an old bunch of old timers, franchising, knowledgeable, experienced people who look at Erico and think, that's not franchising. I'm in your exhibition and I'm selling a lot of franchises. So anyway, so what I'm teaching you is basically something that I put together. And they may think it's not franchising. So let me tell you, a lot of people are starting to copy our formulas now. Yeah, because it works. Okay, so I looked at this and I thought, okay, so first it splits into, and that's what I call the franchise code. I'm currently writing a book on it and I'm going to launch it soon. But So I'm going to share all of this with you, and let me tell you, this thing that I'm sharing here is a big gold mine. It really is. Because the moment you will start actioning this, you will start seeing that the money will start pouring in, and you're not actually putting any work in. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. It's stupid. It really is. It doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense to me today, but I just laugh when I look at my bank account. That's all. Yes. Okay. So, what happens is this. There's 3 stages. How many stages?
3.
3 stages to it. Okay. So, first stage. To the franchise code. Okay. The thing is this. So you have your business right now. Let's call it the Me business. Okay. This is called the Me business. So our company is called Me. Now, Me business. What Me business does is Me business is a franchise and needs to recruit what we call franchisees. Okay. Right. Remember, any questions throughout this, please raise your hand. Yep. We'll answer questions that won't use anyone. So we recruit franchisees. Now, when we recruit franchisees, the problem at the start is that you don't have the credibility. You are just you, and you don't have that branding right now. So why will people pay for your branding? Okay. So the problem here is trust of handing over that money to grow your business for you. Got it? But can you all see that franchising is a snowball effect? It's exponential growth. When you bring 3 on, 5 will come on. When 5 come on, 10 will come on. When 10 will come on, 50 will come on. Does this make sense? You can all see that, right? Because they all see results. Yeah? So we know it's exponential growth, but the question is, how do we tackle the first few? So this first level, what I do is, I call it, the solution is the test run. Okay? So what that means is, imagine this for a second. So if I take a franchise, I take my franchise, right? I have a great business model. Let's say I'm not even established, right? I'm just starting out even, right? I have a business model right now. I write the business plan, everything's beautiful. I write all the systems and how it works and stuff, and I prove to you with financial forecast everything's great, yeah? Then I come here and I pitch for money, right? When I pitch for money. Now obviously with the right sales strategies, we'll be doing sales today, you can still pitch for money, right? But there's resistance. You know where the resistance is, right? Because I'm just a startup. It's just on paper. You haven't got the credibility. Now, think about this scenario a second. So, I still have my franchise. It's still just paper. It's not even established. I'm going really extreme right now. But obviously, if you are running, that will be better, right? If you have a company running already, that's better. But let's just go extreme and just say it's just paper right now. Model's there, everything's there, cool, it all looks great, financial forecasts show that it makes money, and I proved it, I backed it up, all the case studies are there, everything's there, right? It's looking good. The moment I say, okay, so the franchise fee is 35K, you're thinking, not sure, like, risk. But let me ask you a question. So if I had a great, beautiful model drawn up right now, right? And I said, okay guys, I've spent a lot of time putting this together, and you've read it all looks beautiful, right? How many of you would like this model for free? How many of you would like this model for free? Boom. Franchisee, 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 franchisee. There's like most of your hands raised up, right? Franchisee, 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 franchisee. That's free. I don't have to go free. In fact, we didn't, but that is a strategy. We did a discount, so I think we sold it, we did 16K, dropped to I think 5K or 10K or something like that, and we got the first few on. Now, but look at the free scenario for a second. Let's look at free for a second. If we have all our intellectual property, all our branding, all our logos, you can use it, the website, you can leverage off, all of it, okay. Who would have it for free? Raise your hands again, raise your hands. Most of you, okay? You would have it for free. Suddenly you have instant franchisees, loads of you, loads of you. Now, your question may be right now, why would I give all my secret out for free? You are not giving it out for free. You are not giving out for free. Think about it a second. If you wanted to grow your business, right? If you did not franchise, and you wanted to grow it fast, what would you need to do?
Maybe employ.
You need to employ. So naturally what you need to do is you need to pay people money to work for you and hope They will work really hard for you. Now, when you're giving it for free, it's not really for free. In fact, they are working for you for free. They are growing your brand for you for free. Does this make sense? Now again, the association will not understand this. What? Free franchise doesn't make any sense. Right? Why would you do that? Same questions as the majority would think. Why would I give my stuff away for free? But the thing happens here. When I give it for free, you become a franchisee, right? When you become a franchisee, you sign the contract agreement. It means that when you are making money, you still pay royalties. But then that's fair for everybody. They're thinking, oh, when I'm making money, I pay royalties. That's fair. So it becomes okay. It's a win-win now. Are we all getting this so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm giving it away for free, but only for a few people, just for the test run. I would go for 3. That's enough, I think, right? Because otherwise you give yourself too much work. Because you actually need to train them. You need to teach them everything. You need to support them, right? Obviously, they pay the support fee once they're running. Now, the contract agreement will control all of your rights and your intellectual property. So you are not, for example, okay, some of you may be thinking this. If you give your secrets out, what if they take your secrets and they open their own place and don't use your brand? Yeah, they're not allowed to. They signed the agreement, they're not allowed to. And again, your agreement is your control, so you can design it however you want to design it. In our agreement, it's something like this, for example. So for example, somebody signs on to the franchise agreement, then they are not allowed to open another food place while they're in this agreement. If they exit the agreement, there are exit clauses. If they exit the agreement and decide not to carry on with Yo Noodle, or we always have control, we decide to tell them to close down. You're not good enough. Close down. We'll take the brand back. The next 3 years, they're not allowed to open anything to do with fast food. Does that make sense? But these clauses are up to you. I'm just sharing with you what's in our templates. Yes, our contracts. Clear so far?
Yeah.
So that's why we still have full control here. Okay. So then what happens is when you have the 3, it's out of your best interest, and it's also out of their best interest to make these 3 really profitable. Yeah? Now, what happens is when you are doing this, again, they are working for you for free. When you are doing this, what will happen naturally is the next few will come on much easier. We can see, right? We've got 3 now. The next 4 will come on much easier. Right? Much easier, but still not that appealing. Okay? When I thought I had 3, I thought now they're gonna roll on. Right? No, it doesn't happen like that. Right? You go back into exhibition, same problem occurs. You only got 3, right? And then they still have that trust issues, they still have that problem. So the thing was, the option was, okay, we can do the test run and we can do it for longer. But then that means I'm keep throwing these free franchises out and I'm keep using my time helping other people for free. And then I start thinking about my time and it's not quite working out. So I designed the second stage. Okay. The second stage is how to recruit the next level. So we have 3 here, then how do you recruit this next level? And the solution to that is called stage pay. Stage pay. Okay? There's a lot more to stage pay in terms of the technicality, how's the pricing done, how's everything done. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a short break. Everybody take a deep breath in. And out. Okay. Before we go into that break, have we got any questions so far? Because we're going to go deeper and deeper. When I go to stage 3, please turn the aircon up a bit before I faint. Stage 3 is that point. Any questions? Yes. We can move it.
for your initial test run, are you already on IPO?
Nothing to do with
Not
IPO.
listed yet.
No, nothing to do with IPO.
Okay.
Not
That will be
IPO at
later.
all. Not IPO at all. No. You can IPO later stage if you wish. Any other questions? Yes, Aaron?
What's the most effective way to reach out to these franchisees so they know about that you are franchising? Is it through trade shows? Is it through press articles or trade shows? So
Well, the first thing is on your website you put franchising now.
oh,
Yeah. By the way, when are you ready to franchise?
Now.
Literally, literally. So franchising now goes on your website. A good way to reach out is exhibitions. Let me just cover that actually. Okay, so. Okay, so we have actually. Let me cover it later because I need to cover the rest of the stuff. Exhibitions are 8K for 2 days. You get like 22,000 people through the door of Excel and Olympia for that. So that is a whole game where you need to go out there. You just need to sell your heart out to every single person who passes by. And remember, the money is in the database. Money is in the database. We'll be covering marketing and stuff later, but the money is in the database. Meaning, what actually happens? Let me just give you a very, very simple strategy. Again, a lot of the things I teach is simple because I keep everything simple. It's not anything really that innovative. So, a table, a chair with leaflets. This is how most people sit at a franchise exhibition. And what they do is they wait for people to come and inquire. And when people come and inquire, they say, hey, good morning, here's our brochure. Yeah. What we do, and when me and Steve go out there, we call all our employees, we call all our team, we call all our friends, all my family, my brothers, my sisters, my mum, everyone there. What we do is we all stand in this little box here. And then what happens is, okay, game time. Everybody starts coming through the door, boom, we're out. And then we just talk to every single person. Say, hey, nice to meet you. Hey, what are you looking for here? And can I help you? Oh, okay. And then I'm interested in property. Oh, that's fine too. Can I just get you? Can I just get your information? Boom, boom, boom. We just get all the information. And then the people who are interested, we try to close. Right? We try to close into a meeting. The people who aren't interested, we get their leads anyway. Database is king. The money is in the database. Them not buying your franchise does not mean they don't buy anything else. Right? I've got so many people in that database still from that, from that exhibition. In fact, we have like 4,000 something people on our, it's like active investors on our database. Active franchise investors on our database. 4,000 plus people. Out of the 4,000 plus people, 53 have bought into your noodle. That leaves us 4,000 plus people still. Does that make sense? That are investors, people who have money. So, yeah. And that's the beauty about the leverage I have now, the platform. Because people I partner with, it's like, you want to grow your business? Cool. I've got a database. Cool. Can find the franchisee so far. And that's why when I partnered with my mentee, Lynn, in her nail salon, I just found her a mentee and just gave her. I mean, not mentee, a franchisee, and just gave her because I have that database. And so it becomes a very, very powerful place. You can sell franchises all day long. So that's the strategy. Don't just sit there, don't just wait, and just go out there and just speak to every single person. Yes?
Can you quickly go over again about the freebie strategy? Because so you give free, like.
Okay. Yeah, of course. So I have a company called ABC, and then I show you the business plan, I show you the proposal, I show you the presentation, everything's beautiful, you can see, I approved it, financial forecast, makes money, everybody's happy. Then ABC is franchising now, offering opportunities to you all. Then you're thinking, okay, cool, but you're just a new startup, right? So I say, okay, so the franchise fee is 35K. They expect it anyway, because that's the average fee. It's 35K, so anybody who's interested, okay? Except, what we're doing is we're doing something really special, right? And what we're actually doing, but only for the right people, and this is, you have to find the right people, by the way. With franchising, you have to find the right people. It has to be interviewed, seriously. Because you find the wrong people, they calling you every single day with XYZ problems, and then they complain about this, complain about that, and they just ruin the name. Right? We've had problems like that too. I'll share with you after the break about stuff like that. So we need to be careful of that because one franchisee can ruin your whole thing. They start spreading all this stuff. We've had it, you know. So I'll share with you why that happened, and so it doesn't need to happen to you. Yeah. But so when I say okay, it's 35K, we're doing something really, very special. What we're doing is we're going to issue just for 3 people. How many people? 3 people. This whole manual, all the training, everything, and to be able to leverage off this system, right, for free. Now you're interested. That's all. And I say, okay, but what we need to do is we need to do an interview process to make sure you fit the criteria to get this program. Is that clear? Or was there another question?
Like how do you overcome the objection of like, oh, why is it free though? That's what like you may have touched on.
Yeah, no, I used to get questions like that, and like it, you know, in my mind, I have a name for those questions, but I don't want to say it. Just like, but when people ask questions like that, I say, well, no, we can't charge you. Yeah, that's why I said you don't have to go free. You can go 2K, you can go 1K if you wish, £500 if you wish. It's you.
When you make it free or low fee, does that franchisee stay like that forever? Like he doesn't pay the fee anymore? He only pays
Fee is a one-off fee. Fee is a one-off fee. They just pay at the beginning. These are really good questions, by the way. Yeah, they just pay at the beginning.
So the fee they don't pay every year. You pay once.
Okay. Good question. Okay, you can write this down. So usually, an average franchise, usually you pay the fee once, and then 5 years contract, and after 5 years, there's a renewal. Usually for renewals, it's a free renewal, but there's still contract for only 5 years, just so that both get to review and be happy, and it gives the chance, if the franchisor wishes, to charge for that renewal at that time, after the renewal. Yeah, for the renewal. But usually every 5 years. Yeah. But again, when you've got a happy franchisee, you just give a free renewal. Because why not? They're just paying you every month anyway. Yeah. Any other questions before we break? Yes. Wait for the mic so everyone can get questions. Thank you.
So what's your thoughts on having a fee that's linked to the profits so they pay it as the business grows?
Yeah, you can do. Repeat after me. We are always
in control.
It's up to you. It really is up to you. I'll share. So you can ask me questions to how I do it. I don't do it that way. I do it on sales because McDonald's do it on sales, the Subway do it on sales.
No, I mean like instead of, as you said, the stage of like getting 3 and 3, and then maybe the next stage of actually linking it to the profits. They don't pay initial out fee, but then once they start making profit, they come out with.
They pay it back.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. Sounds like a good plan. You can test it. I've never tested it, but it sounds like a good plan. Yeah. But I don't. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it's great if we can get that feedback. That's a good idea. I never thought about it, but that's a good idea. But it's just worked for me so far. Just free. They're working for me for free. They're paying me every month. You know, happiness. Yes, Harriet.
What happens when some people, like your franchisees, so they're not really honest about the income that the monthly income that they're getting?
Nice.
So how do you then manage that? Because some people are going to try and be very smart.
Yes, of course. Good question. So how we manage it is with our EPOS system. It's all wired up, internet. So I could open up my phone and I can see Sheffield, how much they're making right now, how many noodle pots they've sold today already. I can see all of that. But then how can you actually, well, what about people tweaking the system, and doing this and doing that? At the end of the day, you can only protect so much. We do a lot of different things. You can put all these things in place, but I'm not sure if, actually, you were thinking about restaurants as well, so this might help. So in terms of stock, so stock needs to go through us, the orders go through us, we know how much stock they're selling, so we know how much sales they should be making, right? But you'll always get, when we've had it too, they'll still order from the local butchers or something like that, without you knowing, right? But when we do our audits, so we do monthly audits, we go there, when we see a box that doesn't belong to us, we're like, what's this? Why is this here? That's warning number 1, right? When we give 3 warnings, we take the signage off and we stop them from trading. Does that make sense? So we're always in control. Yeah. But you just put as many precautions in place. In fact, our till, we are the requirement for our franchise is that above every till, there's also a CCTV. CCTV is also linked to the internet. We can see all of that from our phones too. So all of these things are the things we have in place. But still, some people will still find some creative new ways, right? So when they do, then we find more creative new ways too, right? Yeah.
What do you think of a minimum monthly? Minimum monthly royalty.
Okay, let me share with you this. Okay, so the key is this. The key is that you want your franchise to make money. You want your franchisee to make money. If they don't make money, it's no good. So what you do is you decide how much money is nice for them to make for your franchise. Then all the rest you can take. Work backwards. That's how I would do it. I'd work backwards depending on what business you're in. I'd look at how much they're making, and let me tell you the great thing about franchising is this. Most people who are going into franchising, people who are looking for a franchise, franchisees, they're not looking to be the next millionaire. But that's the great thing for us. What they are, most of them, and this was a big mistake that we made because our first Yo-Yo Noodle seminar, I started to talk about passive income, multiple streams of passive income, this, that, and then everyone was just so blown away. It's like, oh, it's like, what is this? What people are looking at, in fact, they're stuck in a 9 to 5. They just want to be their own boss. They don't know anything about freedom, passive income. They don't know that. They just want their own little shop. You know, that's what they want. That's all they want. If they can make 50K, 60K a year, they're really happy. They are really happy. But that's why it's a great scenario for us. Because it's not hard to satisfy them. In fact, most subways make 40, 50K a year. It's just like a salary, right? But more people are pouring into it, right? So all they're looking for is just to break out of their 9 to 5. You have your own shop. They're happy. That's all they're looking for. So I wouldn't even go through too much oversell on trying to sell, because sometimes it becomes overwhelming for them, and then they think, oh, it's too good to be true, right? So we need to understand the demographic, who we are selling to, and how we sell it. Yes, Simon.
Eric, you've just identified me a legal problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
In that, when you first start out, your contract agreement can never be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It will never cover all eventualities.
Mm-hmm.
And as you've just demonstrated, when you discover certain things in audits that maybe you never thought of before,
Mm-hmm.
can you build into your contracts that it can adapt and
Mm-hmm.
change depending on what all the different circumstances that you may uncover at a later time?
Mm-hmm. So we are always
In control.
in control. Yeah. So in our contract, it says that whatever Eric says, whatever Eric decides, whenever Eric decides, can always be applied.
So they could be like clause 12, in other words.
In a little bit more jargon than that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then that's
Yeah.
kind of what it says.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
And so what do you personally look for in franchisees, and what's kind of in your...
Well, first of all, I don't look for franchisees anymore.
Okay, but
Because when we come to stage 3, just before I faint, you'll understand why. But okay, back then, truthfully honest, we didn't. We didn't have a clue. It was kind of like, you want a franchise? Well, cool. Take your money quickly. Seriously, that I'm just telling you how it was. But then we've seen a lot of problems. I think. Again, it's just an investable person, I guess, in the same way. Motivated person, solution-focused person. Solution-focused, I see that, whether it's employee, franchisee, I see that being the key. Because problem-focused, that problem will all stack up onto you, being the franchisor. So as long as they are always finding new ways, when they have a problem, they're finding solutions, or they're asking you if you can help them with a solution, and not complaining about the problem. I think that gives you a lot less stress.
So is it kind of like an interview, like how do they prove that to you, that there are problems though? Like, do you give them a...
I say, here's a problem, what are you going to do?
Oh, okay.
No, we just ask questions. You just keep asking questions to get a feel for them. You have multiple, visits and stuff like that. Yeah. Actually, when I get onto stage 3, you'll understand why that's not actually an issue. It's not a problem, because when you give it for free, well, the first few. No, actually, let's cover stage 3 and then you'll probably answer your question. Yeah. Yes, just a few more before we break. Yes, Kaylee?
If you're opening up, say, like 3 more stores, who pays for all of those startup costs? So you'll need like the place to do it and all of the stock and stuff. Is that what you would need to pay for?
No.
They pay for it.
I don't pay for anything.
So they pay for everything.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
Nice. But you're always in control. If you want to pay for it, you can pay for it too. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, do some of the franchisees order the supplies through you? So do you make a markup on that?
Okay, so that's the extra. Let me cover that then. That's nice. Okay. So we have 2 ways. How many ways? 2 to make money. Number 1 is where? Franchise fee. Number 2 is royalties. Okay. Now number 3, where it gets exciting too. So it's not here at all. Okay. So number 3 is through things like stock. Through things like stock, exactly what you're saying there, or even fit out. If it's retail, fit out. Because we always have the right. So you sign on to a Yo-Yo Noodle, what happens is, if you want to open a store, then you must go through our contractors. Now I can strike a deal with my contractors and say every fit out for 200k, give me 20k. Got it? And then I could also say to my sauce supplier, to the meat supplier, to the veg supplier, okay, so any Yo-Yo Noodle order from you, I sign an agreement with you that you need to pay me 10% of everything they order, of the invoice. Clear? So we can do that. Now, the beauty about doing that is this. Today, low franchise fee franchises sell like crazy. They sell like there's no tomorrow. That's the smart thing that Subway did. In fact, when they were franchising for years, it was only 8k franchise fee. Now, in comparison to like $1 million, what you need to pay for McDonald's, 8k was really, really low for such a big brand. And the question was, why is it so cheap? And that's why they grew so fast. Subway didn't start until 20 years after McDonald's, but they overtook them in stores. You got 43,000. I think McDonald's have 36,000. Right? They overtook them with 20 years behind. So they did that by putting a lower fee, reached out to more people. Now, so if we think about this for a second, you can be a little bit more creative if you wish, and you can test this. I haven't tested this yet. You can test it to a point where you lower the franchise fee, so it's so appealing. Get franchisees like there's no tomorrow. At 5k, 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 right? And then what happens is you make the money in the back end. You make the money through a fit out of a retail. So you make 20k in the fit out. So in fact, you're actually getting 25k still. Or you make the money, and you can make the money through all the supplies too, plus the management. Does that make sense? But it's up to you how you do it. Personally, in Yo-Yo Noodle, we don't make money from the supplying the sauces and the meats and stuff like that, and we don't make money from the fit out. We wanted to, except we looked at the margins, and we looked at the profit that the franchisees are making, and it's not enough to be able to pay that too, because we need them to make money. Does that make sense? So again, our focus, this is the beauty of it, our focus is still that we must have the franchisee working and profitable. Does that make sense? So it's about how we can help them. And then everything else, if we can expand on the sales and stuff, we can keep the rest, right? Make sense?